this video we're going to be learning how to crochet the interlocking shell stitch. Start by making a slip knot using your preferred method. This is how I like to make my slip knots. Then for this stitch your starting chain needs to be a multiple of 6 plus an extra 4 chains for turning. So that's a multiple of 6 plus an extra 4 chains. For the purposes of this tutorial I'm going to go for 28 stitches. To start row 1, make 2 double crochets. That's a US double crochet. They're called trebles if you prefer UK terms. So we're going to be making 2 US double crochets in the 4th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4. In that chain there I'm going to make 2 double crochets. 1, 2. So those first 3 stitches that we skipped, we're going to count that as our first double crochet stitch. Next, skip 2 chains, skip, skip, and then single crochet in the next chain. Then skip another 2 chains, so skip, skip, and we're going to work a shell into the 3rd chain. So we skip, skip, and then a shell. If you've not crocheted a shell before, it's really easy. It's just 5 double crochets all into the same chain or stitch. So I'm going to skip 2, 1, 2, and then work 5 double crochets into the next chain here. So that's 1 double crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's my shell stitch of 5 double crochets all worked into the same chain here. And I'm going to skip 2 chains, skip, skip, and work a single crochet. Then I'm going to skip 2 more chains and work a shell, and we're going to repeat that across our starting chain. So skip, skip, shell, skip, skip, single crochet, skip, skip, shell, skip, skip, single crochet, all the way to the end until you've got 3 chains left unworked, and I'll meet you there. So I've continued working that across my chain and I've just done a single crochet and I've got 1, 2, 3 stitches left unworked. So if we have a little look at what we did at the start of our row, we did 3 double crochets because we're counting this turning chain as a stitch. So that here, that's kind of like a half of one of these shells. So that's what we're going to do over here as well. So we're going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and into that final chain there, work 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. So I think this stitch looks best when you change colours every row, so that's what I'm going to be doing for this tutorial. But if you don't want to change colours here, you can just continue on with row 2's instruction in this same colour. So to change colour, I'm going to snip my yarn tail, leaving a tail long enough to come back and weave in later. And I'm going to use my crochet hook to pull that end through that final stitch there. Then to change colour, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hook through the front 2 legs of that final stitch. So I'm putting my hook under that loop and then that loop there. It's essentially where my hook was previously. Then I'm going to grab my new colour and I'm going to leave a tail long enough to weave in later. I'm going to lay that tail over the top of my crochet hook. And I'm going to use my crochet hook to pull the new colour through those 2 loops on my hook. We've now successfully changed colour. I don't knot in crochet, I just make sure I weave my ends in really securely at the end of my piece, but you could knot these 2 ends together if that's the method that you prefer. So to start row 2, make 1 chain. That does not count as a stitch. Then turn your piece of crochet over. Next, work a single crochet in that first stitch here. So again, that's a US single crochet. If you prefer UK terms, that is a double crochet. Next, chain 2, 1, 2. So next we're going to work a type of decrease stitch, and the decrease we're going to work is something called a double crochet 5 together. That sounds more complicated than it is, and I'm going to take you through it step by step. So the first step, yarn over, put your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You should now have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2 loops only. So what we've made here is a partial double crochet. We've done a double crochet all the way up until the final step where we yarn over and pull through the final 2 loops. And what we're going to do is we're going to make one of these partial double crochets into 5 stitches total. So I've done 1, so 4 more stitches. So let's do that together. Yarn over, hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's our second partial double crochet made. Yarn over, put your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And again, yarn over, hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, put your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So I've now made 5 partial double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I've got 6 loops on my crochet hook, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To finish off our double crochet 5 together stitch, yarn over and pull through all 6 loops on your crochet hook, like that. So what we've done there is we've done a decrease, so we've done 5 partial double crochets and joined them all at the top to 1 stitch over here. So they all now kind of count as 1 stitch. So to continue on with row 2, chain 2, 1, 2, and then into the next stitch, which should be the 3rd double crochet of a shell from the row below. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets here, and yep, my next stitch is the 3rd one. I'm going to make a single crochet into it. Next, chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to make one of those double crochet 5 together stitches again. So I'll work that with you just because I know it's not the easiest stitch for beginners. So yarn over, hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's our first partial double crochet made. So we're going to make 4 more. So yarn over, hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And again, yarn over, hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. You should now have made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 partial double crochets and have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loops on your crochet hook, yarn over and pull through all of those loops. And that's our double crochet 5 together stitch made. So continue repeating this across, working 2 chains, single crochet in the next stitch, 2 more chains, and then that double crochet 5 together stitch. And I'll meet you over here when you've just done your final double crochet 5 together decrease stitch, and I'll show you how we move up into row 3. So I've continued working along and I've just done my final double crochet 5 together, and to finish off this row, chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to work our final single crochet into the last stitch, and this last stitch is actually our turning chain from row 1. And because we're counting it as a stitch, we're going to work our final stitch into the top chain of this turning chain here. I'm going in there. So we've now finished this row, and I'm going to go ahead and change colour just like we did before. So snip my yarn, use my crochet hook to pull that yarn through that final stitch, put my hook back under those 2 loops there, so this loop and that loop there. Then I'm going to grab my next colour and lay it across my crochet hook like this, and use my hook to pull that loop through that first stitch. And now we're ready for row 3. So to start row 3, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. This counts as our first double crochet stitch. Then turn your crochet over. I'm just going to move this end out of the way until I can come back and weave it in later. So into this first stitch, work 2 double crochets. 1, 2. So just as in row 1, that's kind of like our half shell to make the edge of our stitch straight. Then what we're going to do now is we're essentially going to repeat row 1, but it's a little bit more complicated because we've got chains and all sorts of stitches going on here. So I'll show you exactly where we put your hook for this row. So next we need to make a single crochet. So we're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to single crochet in, this is actually the top of our double crochet 5 together stitch here. So I'm putting my hook in there like that to make a single crochet, and I'm going to skip the chain, so skip, skip, and then into this single crochet stitch here I'm going to make that shell of 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to skip the 2 chains, so skip, skip, and then again into the top of that double crochet 5 together stitch, so that space there I'm going to work a single crochet. You're going to repeat this across, so skip 2 chains, work a shell, skip 2 chains, work a single crochet, all the way across until you're nearly at the end of the row, and I'll meet you here. So I've continued working that row along, and I've just worked a single crochet into my last double crochet 5 together stitch, and I've got 2 chains left unworked and a single crochet. We're going to finish off this row with 3 double crochets into that single crochet at the end of the row. So in this stitch here I'm going to work 3 double crochets. And then feel free to change colours again, and what you're going to do is now repeat rows 2 and 3 over and over again until your crochet piece is the size you want it to be. I recommend ending on that row with the decreases, so row 2 up here, to make sure the top of your crochet blanket, whatever you're making with this stitch, is nice and straight. I hope you've enjoyed this crochet stitch tutorial. I have a whole playlist of lots of other colourful crochet stitches you might like to try next that I'll link up on your screen. I'll see you again next Friday for another crochet tutorial.